Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com and also with nerdrotic.com. Down south is my co-host, Dennis Bithoulkas. What is up, Dennis?
Well, much. How about you? How are things going?
Things are going good. A little craziness at work, but we also have to acknowledge a very serious thing since we are on YouTube. First of all, we're here to cover Legion, the triumphant return of the wonderful, weird Legion. But first, I want to mention what happened to YouTube today. It's not far from my house. It's only a few short miles away, and it's about down the block from where I used to work. And I used to go to the shopping center there for lunch all the time. So
yeah, I used to live right around the corner from there.
Yeah, dude. So
over there.
So yeah, it's very sad what happened today. There was a shooting at YouTube, and that sucks. That sucks. I don't want to say thoughts and prayers. I just want to, our greatest sympathy, and can't imagine what that's like. And that really, really sucks. And we love YouTube. Okay, we love this platform. We're very grateful that we're able to have this really fun hobby where we can talk to everybody about TV shows and have a lot of fun and not think about real world stuff. And but just wanted to say we're thinking about you, YouTube, and we thank you for all you do. And sorry you're going through this really bad time. So sorry about that. Let's talk about some television. Let's talk about escapism, and that's what we're here to do here at the Nerdrotic channel. And this is a show that both Dennis and I have been looking forward to returning for a long time. It feels like it's been gone forever.
Yeah, it does feel like a long time.
It was it was a little over a year coming out, because I do believe it came out in January of last year, I believe. January, February. So it's a month later. But damn, was it worth the wait? Holy crap, that was a great episode.
Yeah.
And, I love me some weird. And this had plenty of it. This had plenty of it, Dennis.
Yeah, it's if the first season was more of a play on mental illness, this was more on starting off on the play of Delusion, is what when they got into that a little bit. And I was kind of digging it. They were doing a good job of really kind of playing with perception.
Yes, like what is reality and what is delusion? Yes, it's in our head, but does that make it any less real? I don't think so. And a lot of deep stuff that's way too deep for me. I am a guy who 20 years ago, clean and sober now, but 20 years ago did enjoy. I've got I wear glasses, but my third eye is 20/20. I'm just gonna say that right there. Enjoyed this stuff, and it's really. Man, Noah Hawley knows how to make an acid trip of a TV show, or shrooms if you prefer shrooms. But out of a superhero show, for Christ's sake,
super villain,
a super villain. Yes, thank you. A super villain origin. We got super villain versus super villain here, and there's a nice little twist at the end that there might be some sort of a bigger bad out there. And we're playing with time too, and how time plays with reality and how our perception of it, whether we're conscious of it or not. Again, that is stuff for people with PhDs and and doctors in front of their name, not us.
And also how time for these people, for David and Oliver, don't seem to really exist in the way that it hits everyone else.
No. Especially they start out the episode with Lenny and Oliver in a pool. Oliver's drinking a martini, and she's asking what day it is, and automatically, he starts out with saying, like, I don't have conversations about time, which I thought was good. And yeah, so he gets a drink, and the person disappears, so they realize that they're trapped. So the Shadow King, in its astral form or whatever, is trapped, we believe, in the astral plane. Maybe not, we're not sure. But that's
how I got it, was because we zoomed out and we saw the Shadow King, and then we zoomed out again and we saw Oliver. So I saw that Oliver was trapped within the Shadow King, who is inside of Oliver. like
Yes.
piloting his body.
And automatically, do you think? Okay, so they mentioned later in the episode that Shadow King came to be in the 1800s.
Mhm.
He is still a mutant, so his mind is amazingly powerful, but it's still attached to a body, and his power does come from the genes in his body. His body is hidden. We'll get to that later. But in that one scene, and everything is important. God, this is going to be. This was the hardest show to write notes on, by the way.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's
No, I was just taking notes on what I saw. That was pretty much about it.
It's all about aesthetics, and there's so much coming at you. I mean, I would have to watch each episode like 5 times to catch everything. So I might cheat a little bit and go to like some other videos who have places like New Rock Stars where they have an army of people who can go over these things, and not 2 working guys here who work during the day and just watch a TV show and give you a visceral reaction. So, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And of course we do. If this is the first time at your channel, our channel, it's your channel too. And
is it?
And well, yeah, sure. I just want to point out that we do all of our reviews live after watching the episode once. If you are a current subscriber, please check and make sure you're still subscribed. If you are new, please subscribe. Check us out. We have a lot of fun stuff. We have a great community in here. And yeah, so if you are a current subscriber, YouTube has been doing some scrubbing. And once in a while, when they do the scrubbing, they sometimes unsubscribe active users. What they're trying to do is get rid of the unactive users and the bots and crap like that, which are out there. So, and that's totally normal, but yeah, I just want you to check that out. What's up, Apple Crow? How you doing?
Izoye Lurk.
Izoye Lurk. How are you? How are you? So, we have been very excited for this show to come back. I don't know how many people are watching. It seems like more and more people got into it as the year went on, but when it came out originally, not a lot of people were watching it.
No.
It had decent ratings, but not spectacular ratings. But I think this show got a good word of mouth, and a lot of people started watching it throughout the year, especially when it became available on Hulu. So
yeah, Apple Crow just said he watched season 1 last week and just only had to wait a few hours to start season 2, so he came into it fresh. Kind of nice.
Yeah, and thanks, Apple Crow. Yeah, I did a video right outside the YouTube building when we hit 1,000 subscribers, and yeah, that's where it was. And no, I'm all good. We're all good. I'm very far away from there at work all day, so
and I'm very, very far away from there.
Yeah, Dennis is in San Diego. So yeah, so like let's try to trudge through this episode as best we can.
Well, we end up having Ptonomy and Clark finding David just sitting in a chair in this club. Did you notice all the clothes laying there with powdered, I guess you could say powdered remains?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was very weird. I don't know what happened to those people, but it just he was sitting, so he must have been there for a while.
Yeah. Yes. Well, okay. So in the beginning episode, we get that talk of the maze, which I'm not going to repeat.
Yeah.
But this
welcome to the madness.
Yes. Welcome to the madness. And it was great. And it's our narrator. And honestly, I don't know who our narrator is. That's not
I think it's Brendan Fraser. It sounded like Brendan Fraser because he is coming back. I can't find his name in IMDb at all, but I know he was working on the Trust movie that Noah Hawley had a little bit of the Paul Getty movie.
Okay. Yeah. It did not sound like Brendan Fraser to me, but it could be. You never know. I will check the IMDb. And yeah, I'm not great. I got to remember everybody's name. Who's the government guy with the cane again?
That's Clark.
Clark. Thank you.
Yeah, I had to look it up myself. Writing down names before we started in our very long pre-production meeting.
Well, I did not expect it. This was a longer episode too. This was almost 90 minutes, not quite.
But, yeah, it was an hour and 22 minutes.
Yeah, and we needed it. It was good. But yeah, that whole thing where they're talking about the maze and you hear this like clicking in the background, and you're like, what the hell is that? And it's
the chattering.
It's everybody. Yeah, it's everybody's teeth chattering, which was that was weird.
Yeah.
And it's got something to do possibly with the Shadow King. And through the maze and through another story they tell, there's a piece of the Shadow King still in David, we think.
Yes.
If this is David at all. And if this is I don't think the show is in his head, but I'm not too sure about this first episode. I'll say that. There was a lot of weirdness.
I mean, considering now that we flash forward a year and we find out that they're all in Division 3, and they're working with Division 3, who they were running from in the first season,
right,
and fighting.
Yeah. So David got sucked into that little orb, and we get the little. They talk about the maze, and they first ask you to imagine like a desert, and there's a maze in the desert. Then it finally just collapses into you're just in a maze, and now you're trapped in the maze. And it shows David waking up, and saying they're in the maze. They're trapped in the maze, and he's saying it very slowly. And we see that they have David. They have found David. We don't see how they found David, but they have found David. And they're trying to wake him up. Loudermilk is there. The male, Carrie, I guess, is there. And they're trying to find a way to wake him up. And, you could tell the suspicion already. Like and we didn't know at this point that the time had jumped so far. I love the scene between him and Sid after he does wake up, though. I thought that was very cool. And who was the name of the guy who can get your memories?
Patanomy.
Thank you. So yeah, he was in there and he helped David come back a little bit. But this was before they rolled in with his body. So that scene confused me a little bit. But again, I got to watch it again. So
yeah, it was just after they found him in the club. They basically packaged him up and brought him into Division 3 and brought him straight into the room to start, trying to wake him up. And that's when Carrie's like, screw this. And he takes off the containment suit because they actually have said that there is a virus going around now that people are catching. Yep. And wherever the Shadow King has been, that's where they're finding these people with their teeth chattering, just frozen in place, wherever they've been, wherever they were. And the only movement that they're doing is just their teeth chattering. Yeah, which is weird. Yeah. So when Carrie takes off his suit to yell at David there, they basically the dude with the basket on his head, who is Admiral Fukuyama. Yeah. He sends in soldiers. So there's all these soldiers surrounding him.
And they're kids.
Yeah, they're all kids.
They're all like little Boy Scout kids. It was so funny. I was like, man, they really dialed up the weird. And it doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
At the kids, because they've got those the three I'll call them the three people. So the women with the mustaches, they remind me of the cuckoos, but they're not.
The organizing principles, what we end up finding out what they're called.
Something with a V. I wrote it down.
The organizing principle is what they call themselves.
Well, they had a name with a V. It started with a V. It was something, and I got it. Oh, when we get to the notes, I'll remember it. But they say it later. Doesn't matter.
The Vermilions. Right? There we go. Yeah, Carmine 7. Thank you, Carmine 7.
Thank you, Carmine 7. And they were wonderfully weird. It was so cool and disturbing.
With the mustaches. Yeah.
And not just any mustache. They had straight up like 70s, like early 70s guy mustache, like porn stash.
It's porn like stash. You know what it was? It was Mike Ditka. Porn stashes. That's what they were.
All right.
I was just trying to remember what the Bears.
Oh man, that was cool. That was so cool.
So we end up having Carrie's yelling at David to wake up, and he goes, where have you been? Where have you been? And David finally wakes up and looks at him and says, "Do you have any waffles?"
Hey, waffles are good. So then we have a great scene with Sid, and it just focusing on her, and you hear like purring, and she like licks her hand, right? And you see her holding a cat, and then the other Carrie comes in and David's awake, and oh my God, don't do that. I hate when you do that. And you see her, she's talking through the cat, right?
Yeah, she's talking through the cat. Yeah.
She's like, I'm practicing. I'm like, oh, that was cool. I like that.
That was actually really cool. And we also get a breakdown of what the divisions, each division does too. at this point. So we have Division 1 is global communications and control, and Division 2 is science and technology, and Division 3, of course, is the tip of the spear. They are the arm that comes out and fights and also does research as well. So, and yes, excuse me, Steve Nyman, waffle boats. I love the waffle boats, man.
Yeah. Oh my God, I need that in my house. Whatever.
All those tables with the little boats just floating by with food.
I want a Venice kitchen, right, with waffle boats. Make it happen.
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Oh, and when they were describing the divisions, they had like this big board, right? And then they had the I'm gonna look right here, the Vermilions pointing to it each time, and it kind of reminded me of the whole chalkboard scene. And oh god damn, this was shot, awesome. This was shot as beautiful as any film, and I definitely think Howley has to be somewhat of a Terry Gilliam fan. At least that's the vibe I'm getting. So.
Well, John Cameron, who's one of the executive producers, and I posted this, he actually worked on the Evil Dead franchise, the original Evil Dead franchise. So that's where he came from. So that's where you're getting this kind of weirdness from, also from, Noah Hawley as well.
Yeah, I didn't get an Evil Dead vibe from it. I got, again, I'm not saying they were worked with him, but he must have been a fan. There's I don't know. It reminds me a lot of Gilliam. It does. In a good way.
Definitely.
In a good way.
And so we found out that children cannot be infected for some reason with this teeth chattering thing. And the last thing David remembers is being zapped into the orb. But he's getting little bits and pieces here and there of being on a rooftop with Forrest and dancing in a club. And Ptonomy can't really get anything out of him.
No, but he can tell that there's something. He's not telling the truth because he's saying, he can see fragments of the memory, but they don't know how long it's been for him. And we get to that though. But it's been a day for David, but it's been 362 days to be exact. And
exactly.
When him and Sid meet back up again, this is such a cool scene between them. And she's pissed, and she's like, you left me. And like, he starts talking to her in his head. And then, he's like, can I kiss you? And she's all, you better. And my wife was in there. It's like, yeah, you better. And then she's all, this show's stupid, and walked out. My wife. But we got the good mental sex scene. That was all right. And I love Sid. I really do, as a character. I know she's original to the show. I hope they introduce her. Maybe they have. I don't know. Maybe they introduced her in the comic books at some point. But
I don't know.
She's very roguelike, but I like her as a character. But that was another cool scene, just of them, reconnecting. But and then she talks about the whole time when she's what it was like waiting for him, and it was like a teapot.
Yeah,
just going over as the months go by. We all knew what that meant. We all knew what that meant.
And then she talks about the catalyst.
Yes,
and the catalyst being, this thing that's happening with all these people being taken over, and how they're finding more and more people, and they're keeping them in this room. It's just really weird. It's all like these mannequins just standing there with their teeth chattering. So as that as a sound,
bothers me to no end. That whole teeth chattering thing. It just man, it's like fingers on chalkboard, but it works perfectly. And yes, Apple Crow, it's like Gilliam with an ordered mind. Correct, sir. Yes. Absolutely correct. I like Gilliam on his ADD meds, basically. Adderall Gilliam. So,
my ears, what Izuki Lurk says.
Yes, thank you. Yes, don't do that again, please. I
wanted to start the episode or our podcast off with that, but
maybe next episode. Maybe I'll be used to it by then. But we have to think of our viewers too. So.
True, we do. So Sid ends up talking to Melanie, and Melanie is just pretty much, she's lost her mind at this point, because you got to remember Oliver has been missing also for a year, and he's out. Shadow King's basically driving his body. And Melanie starts talking about how the men in their life leave them to go off and fight the good fight. They're always, off to go and do something. And
The
when
world
they
won't save itself.
yeah, the world won't save itself. And when they come back, things are never the same.
Nope. And the thing is, I always got the vibe from their relationship that he was kind of checked out anyway. Like she was way more into him than he was into her. Maybe that's different. Maybe his mind was wiped, and she's doing that same drug. And again, I don't know what drugs you're all doing nowadays through the elephant thing.
The elephant, yeah.
But I love the scene because they played Jane's Addiction. I Would For You. I love that song, and I love that band so much. So I was like, yes.
Yeah, and then we have some donkey dude with crutches on a wheelchair rolling through. What the hell was that?
It was like a I don't know, like a Coachella monitor or something like that. It was definitely something you could possibly see at Coachella and Burning Man. Yeah, so I don't know. But I think she was just seeing that from whatever drug she was doing.
And then we get the great story of Swang Zhu, who meditated or fell asleep and dreamt that he was a butterfly, or was it a butterfly who dreamt he was Swang Zhu?
Yes, but then that goes into what is it, Adam or something that they get who
it goes into the delusion.
We get to see Albert A. Albert A. Who had an idea, but then he stumbled and realized that it felt like his right leg didn't belong to him anymore. And then it goes down and down to where he stabs himself in the leg, and then he goes to the hardware store and cuts off his leg. Yes. And then we realize that we're seeing either what this infection is or the origin of the Shadow King, or how the Shadow King is able to infect a person, or maybe it's side effects from the Shadow King. It's definitely connected to the Shadow King.
And I love how they have the delusion being these baby chicks. So the ideas are baby chicks. So they grow and become ideas, full-blown ideas.
Yep.
But the delusion is this murky black thing that's nasty looking, and it eats the rational thoughts, the rational ideas, destroying them until it becomes a full-blown psychosis.
There you go. Yes. Rationalization might be another term for it, but
yes.
Yeah. But damn, that was cool. That was another really cool visual. And we take these little sidebars, but they're carrying the story forward as much as I can. Hey, listen, I don't pretend to know what the hell's going on all the time in this show, but I enjoy it. So,
and then we have David and Clark, of course, talking about his mom. Was battling leukemia when he was 8 years old. And so she kept him home from school, and they sat on the big king-size bed watching soap operas. And every time someone had an evil twin or amnesia, they would eat, they would eat ice cream.
He would eat ice cream. And what he was trying to do, what Clark was, by the way, I like Clark a lot. For being a former bad guy, I'm finding myself liking Clark a lot. And he talked about his mom, calling him husky instead of fat, which was kind of cute. But it was all an attempt to get David to tell the truth last minute before he sends him to the admiral. And he's on to David. He's like, listen, and you got to understand that they think David might not be David at all.
Is that kind of like you got to remember?
Kind of. Well, you've already dropped that once. Did you even hear yourself say it?
I didn't hear myself say it. No, I did not. But I probably took a drink anyway.
So, yes, you said it about 5 minutes ago. I just, I'm sure they catch it out there in the chat. So he's trying to get David to tell the truth last minute because they don't think it's David, or they don't think David's in the driver's seat. They're still pieces of the Shadow King, and they're going to do a DNA. No, they were going to carbon date him.
Yeah,
they're going to actually carbon date him, which makes me think. They might think it's not just a day he's been gone. It could be years, because this is where Clark tells him that the Shadow King came to be in the 1800s. He's been separated from his body. And if he gets to his body, that's bad for absolutely everybody.
Yeah, because he becomes all powerful, basically.
Yes.
And no one knows where his body is, probably including the Shadow King. The Shadow King doesn't even know where his body is.
Nope.
It's been hidden away.
Probably by Professor X. We got a reference, a father reference.
Yeah, he says, "I know he got defeated by my father." Yeah.
So I'm going to ask kids right now, kids of all ages out there in the chat and on the comments. Will you be disappointed if Patrick Stewart doesn't show up at some point? Or would you be okay with them just saying, hey, Professor X is his dad, and they show a picture? I mean, I don't necessarily need to see Patrick Stewart in this show to enjoy the hell of it. It would be rad if he showed up just for a second. I mean, I wouldn't want him in this forever, but I kind of have a feeling we might get him this season. I'm not going on nothing but just gut feeling on that.
He's doing apple cider, hard apple cider commercials. So I think he can.
Yeah,
he can do those.
Hi, Sylvia Love, and hi everybody in the chat for the live chat. We will get to you once we are done recapping the episode real quick. You guys know the routine.
Yeah. So David and Admiral Fukuyama have a little talk. And we get the Vermilions, or the organizing principal, talking about how they are machines that bleed. That they've had machines inserted into them to the point where they were screaming for days and on end. And
when they were a little boy, singular.
Yes, yeah, very creepy stuff. And they basically want to destroy Oliver and Farouk when they find them. And then, of course, they want to find Farouk's body and destroy that as well. And David's like, whoa, what? You don't want to kill, because Farouk is inhabiting Oliver. We don't want to kill Oliver. And they're like, nope, we got to get rid of all of it.
No, we do not want to kill Oliver. Plus, Oliver saved him. David's got a loyalty to the. So David is still, very good at this point. But throughout the episode, we hear David talking to himself. We hear him just in a couple scenes just having an inner monologue, but it's like he's actually talking to another person, when they're asking him questions. Like when the Admiral's about to ask him questions, he says to himself in his head, he's all, just be honest, tell them, but he is keeping a secret, I believe.
I think so as well. And so David goes off to go and see Carrie, because Carrie has created this tube that's going to amplify David's powers, so that he can find out where Farouk is, hiding out at. Because he says Farouk is hiding from him. They used to have a connection, but he says you can tell that he's hiding from him at this point. So he ends up going over there, and he has to get naked to slip into as he puts it, the strawberry daiquiri cocktail mix that's conducive to his brain patterns there, to amplifying his powers.
Almost like a sensory deprivation chamber. A little bit like one.
Exactly.
I love Loudermix gadgets, by the way.
I do too.
How they do those.
Yeah, and one that he does later, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yes.
So Sid ends up telling Loudermilk, well, if anything happens, ping me, let me know. And she steps out of the room, and she steps into this gigantic elevator, which looks like the size of a room. And Ptonomy is on the other side there, and they start talking about David in the elevator and wondering if it's actually him or not still. And that's when Ptonomy asks, he says, well, do you believe him? She goes, yeah, he's my man.
Yes, of course she does. But she doesn't. She's just backing her man right there. And that's what you do. Yeah. Yes, little lip service to back her man. She believes him, but she believes that he believes, but she doesn't believe. I don't believe.
Yeah, so then we have Carrie start flipping channels. And he goes, we're gonna, just jump around here. Let me know, what you get. And if it's not working, then we'll switch. And he hurts him at first. He hurts David at first. He's like, and he goes, how's that? Is that better? A little bit. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, and then we're back in the nightclub.
We have David's mind floating. It's kind of going through all these things until he gets back to the nightclub.
Yeah, which starts out with a duck goose game at school, and it ends up at the nightclub.
And in the nightclub, we start seeing David, and he sees the bald man walking through the crowd
with that little thing on his forehead.
Yeah, this little thing on his forehead, and then it switches over to Oliver, and I've just blanked on her name out.
Lenny,
thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know why I blanked on her name all of a sudden. And we start having a dance off.
And this was rad, and it was done to the regular music, but which is done by Jeff Russo, by the way, who did the wonderful music of Counterpart, by the way. So
Nice.
really good soundtrack. I mean, good music choices, great music choices from last year. But they're continuing that. So yeah, it was pretty funny actually.
Well,
But it
them
wasn't lame. It could have been
no.
totally lame, and it wasn't. It fit in the story, and it was very cool.
Well, it was also creepy too because they're
Yeah.
both using dancers that are in the club and they're taking over their bodies and using them. And the way you can tell this is because Carrie starts involuntarily dancing as well as he's switching switches outside the sensory deprivation tank. And it's just like, wow, that's really majorly screwed up. Man.
And I forgetting his name, but the actor who plays Carrie was showing off his skills because he's a mime and a clown and like a professional dancer as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That's Bill Irwin.
Yeah, Bill Irwin is well known for stuff like that. You know, he's a comedian, he's a mime, he's a clown. He does he's like an old school vaudevillian guy.
Okay.
Modern times, yeah.
Got it. No, so it's very, very cool. And so we end up cutting to a commercial at that point, and then we end up coming back and we find we go back to that room of the people just standing there with their teeth chattering. And Sid's outside and she's kind of wandering around and she finds David naked in the hallway.
Yes.
Which was just kind of weird how
did he get it out?
Yeah. And
I thought I missed something. I was going to ask you about that. I'm like, did I miss something?
Yeah, I thought I did too. And I'm like, no, there's something. Again, we're having something about time here as well, missing time.
Yes,
and
well, obviously, because what we're about to get to, there's a lot of time jumping in here.
Yeah, so we end up. Excuse me. They end up going to bed. Sid, basically, Sid and David, they're talking about what he remembers, and of course he's lying to her, and she calls him out on it and says, "No, you're lying. You're holding something back. You remember some stuff." And he's like, "No." He goes, "I'm good. You know, I'm telling you the truth." And so they end up going to bed, and we see as they're sleeping in the astral plane, you see one of the delusions crawling across the floor towards David.
Yes,
leaving a trail. And he all of a sudden wakes up, his eyes open up. You see it in the real world open up, and he starts going. He goes into this black area, if you will, and sees an older Sid, a much older. And
before that, he's asked like, what was his last memory, and it takes us basically to the end of last episode, and while he's in the orb, it turns black, and he sees a future Sid. Now I could not tell that was a future Sid right away. She can't speak, of course, so she's doing this communication with like a wand. And
before we actually get to that, before they went to sleep, David actually gave Sid something that he had Carrie make for him before he went to the sensory deprivation tank.
A necklace, yes.
A compass, yeah. And the compass points to him.
It does. And then she said, "Okay, promise me no secrets." And his answer was no secrets. Was not I promise.
Yeah.
I want to point that out. So we're jump back there. There's a future Sid with like a magic wand, and she's doing like magic wand charades.
It's a light wand that you can draw into the air and leave little trails. And so she's drawing pictures in the air, and he's having to, guess what it is. He goes, "Okay, that's me. That's a present. Okay, it's present me." And then he's finding out that, okay, I'm almost out of time. And he says, "I need to go to the future." Or she was the one that sent the orb back from the future to the past to abduct him.
Well, we don't know that for sure, but they heavily insinuate that. Also, he figures out Sid's from the future. He's in the present, and bottom line, the Shadow King. By the way, I guess it's a little late to say spoilers if you haven't watched the episode, but if you've gotten this far, what the hell? The Shadow King needs to be reunited with his body, and David needs to help him. He's like, "What the fuck? What are you talking about? Why would I do that?" And all she would say, or all she would mime, is that the world is in danger, and that's all we know. And that's it. That's where it ended, and that was crazy. And it had a very dramatic ending because it went. And I couldn't totally follow this. So it went back to David standing in the room looking over Sid, correct?
Yes, my camera's frozen from what I understand here. So
Yes, it is. So why don't you shut it off?
yeah, I'm going to shut it off for a second.
There you go.
Turn it back on and see if that actually helps. There we go. Am I back? I'm back.
There, you're back.
I just noticed that I froze there for a moment.
Yep. All right, so we can get to the chat, but that was an amazing episode. Again, the ending, that was like the big dramatic music, and so he was just back in the room, right? That where he started.
I think so.
And looking at Sid sleeping. Yeah, I need to watch that again. If you guys caught that in the chat, I was like, I'm not really sure.
I don't know if he was in the past where we left off after the end of season. How long were you gone? I don't know how long I was gone. I might have been gone for a year. I'm not too sure, but it seems like just yesterday.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. So let's get to the chat here. Let's get to this, a couple of the newer chats. Like, yes, the Shadow King put an idea in David's mind. Just saying. Yeah. Yes. Hello, Johnny Pappas. Hyper Rogue, how are you? All right, we're gonna go up the chat here.
Phelan 120. He's said, found you guys from Counterpart Reviews. First time joining live. Love Legion. Welcome. Same with all. I know we have a couple of new people in here. That's why I wanted to get to them as well. Also, as we said, Ayazoi Lurk. I'm sorry, I'm gonna probably murder your name. And there was one other person. Carmi 7.
Yes,
welcome.
Who who gave us the Vermilion's name? Thank you so much.
Yes.
We rely heavily on you. We really do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Austin Klein. I haven't seen Austin Klein before, but
welcome. Yes, we'll be doing Legion all season, and this is a passion. Like, if we get 0 views on this, we're still going to do it because I love the show and I'm watching it anyway. So what?
And one more.
The hell?
Sylvia Love. There we go.
Hello,
She's
Sylvia.
brand new. She says, I'm new here since last week. Love this channel.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Welcome. All are welcome here. And we love having you. We love hanging out and talking about TV for as long as we like. Sometimes we go a little long, but you don't have to watch the whole thing. It's all good. You know, watch what you can. And yeah, we've been doing this regularly for about a year and a little over a year. And it's lots of fun. It's lots of fun. And this is going to be a great month for TV. We got Legion, Expanse is coming up, Westworld. Yeah, we got Krypton going on and Ash vs. Evil Dead still. Just finished up an amazing Counterpart show. If you haven't caught that, watch that. So did you get to see the scenes for what's ahead?
I did not. No.
Well, so they show Loudermilk working on the pod, and he does say, "Man, it looks like I built this." So I'm pretty sure it's going to be them from the future, but with the reference to Professor X, and it was who said earlier, because to my question, it was Sylvia, I believe, said she does not need to see Patrick Stewart. Hello, Pem Farm Girl. Hello, how are you? And I don't either. But it would be great if he did, but it's not something I'm going to be disappointed in a way. I think he would be better suited going on The Gifted to boost that show a little bit. This show's fine on its own, to be honest with you.
So Isaiah Lurk said the dance battle was so sick. Yes, it was. That was awesome.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't use this big bombastic number, right? They used like this really mellow, weird electronic number, you know, some modern dance going on there. It was cool.
Yeah. Hyper Rogue says the same thing. I love the dance part. And Carrie can dab.
Yes. No, Jody, you did not miss predictions, and God no, I don't know if I can make any right now. I'll try. I will try.
I mean, there was just so much stuff. Johnny Papa says, I'm going to say hello and goodbye because you guys are just too damn quick. I haven't even seen the episode yet. I need to watch it, and then I will check this out.
Please do. If you don't see us live, you can always catch us when the episode renders. This turns into a video. It renders in like 30 minutes, and you can watch it whenever at your leisure. Yeah, that's always something we always talk about is do we wait or do we? It's always worked out best. I'm sorry to sound a little selfish here, but it's always worked out best for us to come on right after the episode. We get the maximum amount of views. So that's why we do it.
And yeah, also it's kind of fun for us to do it right after we've seen it too. even with the limited notes, and we do make a lot of errors and stuff like that. We are not, you got to remember we have day jobs too, so we're working on, and drinking too. That's me.
That's you.
Yeah,
well, you said you got
right.
to remember. You said you got to remember. So, yeah, and no, I think that's part of our charm.
It's part of our charm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go. It's the visceral review. We're a bunch of friends who just saw
scripted.
a TV show and just went, oh shit, oh god, no, we're not scripted. Hell no. I put more work into my background than I do into our actual channel. Okay, this is what I put the most work into is my background. Everything else is just tonight we fired up the camera and started. Sometimes we'll discuss things for a couple minutes, but that's it.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that to the new rock stars and the colliders and the emergency awesomes who are all, I love Emergency Awesome. That's a good channel. For all the details. Actually, that's where I go. I go to New Rockstars. They do pretty decent jobs. That Westworld trailer breakdown they did, fantastic. I highly recommend it.
Joshua Maddox says,
Thank
I
you,
love how challenging this show is.
Yes, it's you got to do homework on this show. I'm a comic guy, but my weakest subject is the X-Men. Believe it or not, that's I know Wolverine. I'm a Wolverine fan, but after Byrne and Claremont ended, I kind of kept up with it, but not much. I didn't read a ton of 90s X-Men. I read Onslaught and kind of was over it after that. So I always had Harry Maldonado, my manager, was my X-Men guy at the comic store.
Oh yeah.
So I could read everything else because X-Men would take up all my time. I'm not saying I hated it. I went there for the events and stuff like that, which honestly,
I love giving Harry crap about, if I ever wanted to just really annoy him, I said the X-Men the X-Men universe doesn't take place in the regular Marvel universe.
Yeah, that was a very sensitive subject. I'm sure a lot of people know this, but Marvel played with that idea very seriously before it was about 98 when they were thinking about just completely separating them from the Marvel universe.
Because so much weird shit was happening. That's why.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what Onslaught, the whole Heroes Return thing, that's when they were really thinking about it. Plus there was rights issues going on. The whole story behind the Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider was a rights issue. So,
yeah. So Carmi 7 says Vermilion, the color, the red color has different profound meanings in many cultures. In Japan, vermilion is the color which expels evil and diseases.
Man, you need to hang around here some more. Thank you.
I need to feed us some of this information. That way,
that's awesome. Somebody's bucking for a promotion out there. Yes, we don't care about fluffing. More fluffing, please. Says Zev Bellringer. Hello, Zev.
Apple Crow says, "Predict weirdness, prepare for awesomeness."
Yes. There's some shows you just get a feeling about, and within 3 minutes of tonight's show, I knew it was going to be good. I'm like, this is not going to disappoint at all.
It was coming from Noah Hawley, so I didn't have any qualms about this being good, not being good. So,
I mean, I know he's been around a while, but he's been around in TV, and let's enjoy this guy while we have him on TV because he's going to be a huge, huge star director. If J.J. Abrams can make it out of TV and do what he's done, imagine what Noah Hawley could do.
Yeah, I can just imagine what he does with a huge movie budget, like $50 million or more. And I mean, wow, that would just be awesome.
He's taken a relatively obscure X-Men, one of the most unadaptable X-Men, which even X-Men fans were like, I don't know about Legion. Like, not all of them read it, right? And
exactly.
and made it into the best superhero show on cable/network, not counting Netflix.
The best Marvel TV show.
No, the best thing Fox has done with the X-Men on TV. And I'd say it's still third to Deadpool, which they showed before this. And I forgot how fucking funny the end credits were to Deadpool. I had not seen them since I originally saw that. But I walked in the room with my son, and it's the part where he's jerking off the unicorn, and it
squirts rainbows.
Of course, I had to send my son out of the room. I'm like, I always pick the worst times to let Logan in here. Always when a head's getting blown off or something like that.
I couldn't believe they actually had they left all the F-bombs intact in that one too.
Yes, they did. You know what? It doesn't matter. We're all adults here. Jody says, so Gary, having seen the first episode, what would you say have been the key differences between season 1 and 2? You clearly love season 2 tonight from the get-go. Yes. Differences.
This one is not mental illness. This is delusion. Is what this is. It's planting of perverse ideas or different ideas is what this is, and how they change you. That's what I was getting.
It's basically the overarching theme is perception, and and season 1 was one aspect of perception. Season 2 is another aspect of perception. As far as aesthetically, more money. They had a lot more money. You can tell right off the bat that it feels fuller. But it's seamless too. It was called Chapter 9 and it felt like Chapter 9. So it was seamless. If I go back and watch the last 2 episodes, which I'm really thinking about doing tonight, of season 1, and then lead it right into this one, I don't think I'll notice a difference at all, which is great because it was great to begin with.
Izoi Lurk says this version of Legion needs a comic adaptation. The art style of the current Legion comic is so meh.
Yeah, it's I know this will be controversial because there's some people I love Bill Sienkiewicz. Okay. I love Bill Sienkiewicz, but his work there wasn't I know he was trying something different. It wasn't my favorite work. I can't call it his best or worst because that guy can draw with his left pinky toe better than I can, and I'm an okay artist, but and his work on Moon Knight is phenomenal, and he's a phenomenal artist. He's great with the brush, but yeah, the art in the comic was way too liney and sketchy. I don't know. It looked a lot like my horrible Legion I was drawing on my notes right now. It looked a lot like that. So yeah.
Apple Crow says, oh, did you see the pink Deadpool charity drive drop just a bit earlier? Yeah, that was actually during the movie that they were showing on FX. It's almost played like it was part of the movie, the way they dropped it in. It was
I missed that. That sucks. Hopefully I can see it on you. Yeah. I was driving home.
Cool. Yeah. It was when he has the knife in his head and he gets knocked out kind of thing, when everything's kind of going to hell. And they cut straight to that because they were like a very special message from Deadpool. And that's what he was talking about. Fuck cancer.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is great. Yeah, fuck cancer. Took my dad.
Took my mom too. Yes.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Sorry about that.
I know. Yes. Everything.
Poor mom and dad. Yeah.
So
Isaiah says, I don't see any hard comic tie-ins so far besides his father. No. And it's okay for this show. I usually am pretty critical of that. Like you don't need to make up new stuff for the X-Men because it's the goddamn X-Men. But it's been done so well on this show that I can't complain about it. I really can't.
Yeah, Apple Crow, he says it's amazing how well they use their budget. I'm sure it's small, but it looks incredibly big. Yeah, it's amazing. If you go back and look at season 1, especially that dance number that Aubrey Plaza does, and the way the scenes kind of, I know they did some digital stuff, but they also did some practical stuff like stage, which I think he came from a stage background, if I'm not mistaken. You'll notice it's so well done, so well choreographed, and probably my favorite episode out of the entire series so far.
I'd have to agree with you there. I'd have to agree with that. That might be Jermaine Clement being in this show. For one, when I was watching it in season 1, it was a total shock. I had no idea who was going to be in the show. I didn't do much research before we watched it. So when I saw him there, I was like, I freaking love this guy. And I'm glad he's still a part of it. But it seems like everybody's got kind of a musical theater background in this, and it actually works. I know Dave Stevens does. Aubrey, let's talk about Aubrey Plaza a little bit. I thought I heard it reported, but it was like on Twitter. So I'm not, it was the internet. It was true that she wasn't going to be in season 2. And I was like, oh, damn. I understood, she's kind of a star, that one. So I'm really glad they got her back, even if it is kind of limited. But like she was not just back a little bit. She's like in the series, so that's a very pleasant surprise.
Well, she's Oliver's. It's the same kind of monkey that David had on his back in season 1. Oliver has it now, and I don't know if you noticed when we went back to the nightclub when David is in his pajamas in the nightclub. We see her as a small little figure kind of going towards him, and then she ends up turning towards him. So I think that the Shadow King has kind of reconnected with David at that point.
Yeah, if it was ever a broken connection at all. And I'm wondering if Oliver sees the same person David does, because like Lenny was part of his guilt, getting her killed. So that's why the Shadow King used Lenny. So why would Oliver be seeing Lenny other than we want to keep Aubrey Plaza in? So I wonder if they play with that a little later and we see like him seeing somebody else.
Or like seeing Melanie.
Yeah, maybe seeing Melanie. Ah, there you go.
And it could be the reason why she's kind of gone off the deep end too.
Yep. Man, she looked great.
Yeah.
I loved her haircut. Yeah, I know. I appreciate good haircuts. Okay, my wife's a hairdresser. Give me a break. Give me a break. She had very good hair. Yeah. She did.
Applecrow says Legion is a show that convinces me she can actually act and isn't just one look the whole time. Same thing with me, Applecrow. I despised her before all this because I thought she was just another millennial little, so-and-so. And then I saw her in season 1. I was like, where was this all this time in all her other roles? And just awesome performance.
What made me like her, I liked her in Scott Pilgrim, but she was only in a second, but was the time travel movie, the little, oh God, what is it? It's like, I forgot the name. It's like reading instructions or something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
What was that damn time travel movie? It was really good. It was about a guy trying to just get back in time and she doesn't believe him, and it ends up being,
it's an ad. It's an ad that he puts in the paper.
Yeah, it's a very cool little indie film. It's funny as hell and cool.
Not the butterfly effect.
No.
So, let's see. Applecrow says, "Oh no, wait! You said it was good."
Who, me or you?
No. He was talking about butterfly because he said butterfly effect, and then he says, "Oh no, wait! You said it was good." And
gotcha. Okay, I get it. I'm following it. Okay, it took me a second.
Steve Nyman says he does Fargo too. Very good show as well. Yes, we know he does Fargo. I haven't seen it yet. Gary, you've watched part of Fargo? So
I've watched Fargo and it's wonderful. We should cover it. But we can't catch everything, but I love Fargo. No. I wanted Noah Hawley to take over American Gods. I've said that a million times. I think he'd be perfect for it. Actually, I think he'd be better than Brian Fuller. I think if he took over that show, it'd actually improve, and it was really good to begin with. So
Steve Betts says safety not guaranteed.
Safety not guaranteed. I just found it. Thank you very much. Love that movie. So good. It's got a side story of her publisher boss like going through a midlife crisis, and it's funny. It's good times.
And Jody says
it's The Notebook. Yeah, it's The Notebook with time travel. Yeah, kind of is. Yeah, and I like The Notebook too. Shoot me.
Jody says I loved Aubrey right from the start of season 1, but she's really showing off her acting chops in the series. Yeah.
Yep.
She really is. Applecrow says Noah is the Brian Fuller that stays around.
Yes.
Except with talent.
So funny. Brian Fuller has talent. I think Noah Hawley has more.
A lot
Brian
more.
Fuller definitely has talent. He just doesn't. He's the crazy artist.
He doesn't play well with others.
I've met so many people like that who are just uber creative, but Frank Darabont, same way. It's the same damn way. He's when they start getting in charge of something, they go all control freaky and stuff, and I can identify and understand it. There's just times you have to back off. Terry Gilliam is a lot like that too. He's not angry about it. He's just crazy about it.
So since we hit the hour mark, shall we
can say our goodbyes. So we have a Patreon, and oh man, I didn't have the damn picture ready again. Sorry.
Well, I'll
Do
talk a
some
little bit.
credits while
I
I
want to say
find that.
thank you to everyone that's been in the chat here: Jody, Hyper Rogue, Apple Crow, Harmless Armory, Steve Betts, Zev Bellringer. I love that name, by the way. Man, that just makes
That's a
me laugh.
great name.
Izoe Lurk, welcome again. Steve Nyman. I'm sorry, I know Pen Farm Girl, Carmi 7. I know that Johnny Pappas was in here for a little bit. He's going to, come back later. Joshua Maddox. I know we had another new person, another couple of new. Sylvia Love, thank you.
And we'll while you're doing
Austin
that, we'll
Klein.
Austin Klein, cool. Okay, so here are our patrons, our wonderful patrons. We're actually missing a couple here, so I'll just say their name a couple times. So Feisty Fan, because they're not missing, and Johnny Pappas 3 times. So Johnny Pappas. Sorry, I forgot to put your names up. We also have. I got to present to everybody, by the way. Gotta do that. Jody, Viking Bitch, Apple Crow, Eric, Lawrence Howe, Kristen Conine, Shakuri Lama, Richard Seth Jones, Isaiah Norton, Fanon Ruff, Pen Farm Girl, Brian Smart, Arturo Espinoza. Thank you for being our wonderful and loyal patrons. Your packages are on the way. You should be so excited.
Thank you very much.
So each package is roughly, there's 3 tiers. You get a $1 we just like your stuff tier. We get a $5 tier with you get 3 exclusive Comic Outpost comic books from the store I used to own. In the $15 tier, you get 3 comic books from the store I used to own. You get some extra comic books, some magazines. You get an assortment of action figures. It's kind of like a Loot Crate box. We call it a What's in the Box box. The last ones I sent out were valued at about $130 each worth of stuff in there. And that's with minimum value of the comics. If you want to throw the comics on eBay, you could probably get like $20-30 a piece for them, maybe. Make a little extra scratch from your pals here at Nerd Rock Channel, or keep them, read the comics, whatever you want to do with them. Give them away. It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. So also want to remind you again, YouTube is doing a little bit of scrubbing. We've noticed so a little bit of weirdness, not too much. And so just make sure you're still subscribed and ring the bell. We would appreciate that. Our next podcast is tomorrow night with Krypton. Then Thursday, I'm on Comics Division's channel discussing comic book retailing marketing. It sounds like a boring subject, but it's not. And Friday, it's Friday Night Live. Saturday, I will be on I Love Comics channel. I will put a link on our website, nerdrotic.com. That's going to start at 9 p.m. Eastern, and I'm in Comic Book Thunderdome, where I take it's basically you take a side, and it's like comic book debate class, and it's on I Love Comics channel. And then Sunday is kind of open right now. I can't remember, but I'll remember when the time comes. Our schedule's up at nerdrotic.com. That's our main website. Dennis has a Twitter. It's at the Force, DAFORCE. Mine is at Nerdrotics. Please follow us. We also have a Facebook page that Dennis runs and a group that is growing and is fun. The Nerdrotic podcast group.
And I was going to answer Steve Betts here. He said, I came across you guys. Do you do a weekly after show? Yes, we do. So if you go to nerdrotic.com, you can actually see our list of shows. We actually post them up there in our times. Sometimes our times vary a little bit. They will usually within the half hour that we post them there. So if we have something that's going to be a little bit later, we will let you guys know.
Yeah, that's a really good question. If we start a show, we'll let you know if we're just doing the one episode. Otherwise, we're doing the entire season.
Yeah.
We're kind of like post game,
Exactly, because we watch it once and then we try and do it straight out the gate.
We break it down.
Yes. And thank you. He says, perfect. Thanks, guys. Great show. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I'm going to answer one more question here because I saw it at the very beginning and I just missed it. Harmless Armory says, which X-Men character do you think would fit with the feel of the show as a semi-recurring character?
Oh, wow. I would have to give that some thought. No, that's too on the nose.
Well, other than Professor X, you mean?
I think, that's too on the nose too. Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man, would fit perfectly in this show.
Would be interesting, but it'd be hell on their budget. Beak.
It'd be interesting, but yeah, because he's weird enough to go in there. Yes, Beak. I agree. I think Multiple Man would be better because you can have a lot more fun with him. Yeah, I'm doing hi Sylvia. Yes, I'm going to be doing a Farscape in the next week. I'll put that up on the schedule, and I'm doing it episode by episode. So this is probably a year-long commitment, but what the hell? I love the show. I love it so much, and it took me for. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I've never seen a second of Farscape until about a little over a week ago. I just never got around to watching it. So you guys can watch me watch it for the first time. It's pretty funny. Safety Not Guaranteed. Thank you, Felon. Yeah, that's such a good movie. I love that movie. Mojo, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned Mojo, Jody, because that's who we thought the Shadow King was in the very beginning, because we just saw the yellow head in the background and we thought it was Mojo, and it still could be Mojo.
Dude, I would love a Howard the Duck cameo in Legion. Apple Crow just says that. Yeah, but it wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit with this.
Yeah, you got to think weird X-Men. Okay, so I mean, you can't have like Jean Grey and Cyclops in this. No, it's got to be a weird X-Men.
Yeah. You do Callisto.
Anybody from the Ecstatics, or the entire team.
You could do Self.
Yes.
I mean, Self would be awesome. And I just want to say to everyone who's new in here, come join us on Friday nights. It's a free-for-all. We basically tell you the news of the week that we have there, but we also talk about everything else as well. It's a fun time. We usually run 2 or 3 hours on that. And so it'd be awesome. Come on by and hang out. We start at 8 p.m. on Fridays, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, yeah. So to answer your question, I had to pull up Dupe or Dead Girl would be wonderful on this show.
Dupe would be awesome.
Dupe
Dead
would
Girl.
be the shit.
Yeah, Dead Girl would be interesting.
That's your homework, everybody. For next week, I want you to come back with us and tell us who you would put in this show. What X-Men would you like to see in this show? Husk. Yes. See? So yeah, think about it for a week and we can talk about it next week, because I think that's a great question. Thank you so much. That's fun. I like doing stuff like that. Warhead. I'd say Negasonic Teenage Warhead. There you go. But she's in Deadpool and she's brilliant.
And speaking of which, in Deadpool 2, we do know that Shatterstar's in it. So that means Mojo must be somewhere in the Deadpool universe, right?
The vibe I'm getting is like the X-Force is going to be at the very end, and they're not going to have like a lot of speaking parts. They're just going to be during a fight scene. They're not going to be like throughout the whole movie. But yeah, that's cool. No, they keep on hiding Shatterstar, but you can see him in the background.
It's pretty funny, man. They're actually Ryan Reynolds has been putting it more and more in in his posts about Shatterstar. He keeps letting it go, and it's like, dude, come on, stop with the teasing. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, well, it's Fox has come out. They said they had a great test screening off of them not having a great test screen. I don't know who to believe, but I can't imagine the movie sucking, to be honest with you. But anything's possible. Anything's possible. So we'll wrap this one up. Dennis, any final words on the wonderfully weird Legion?
Watch season 1 if you haven't watched it already, and keep up with us and join us here. Other than that, Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Remember, kids, progress, not perfection, and send positive vibes to YouTube. Today they had a rough day, and it was a really crappy thing that happened. So we're really sorry. And once again, I just want to say thank you, YouTube, for providing us with this platform to hang out with a lot of cool people, talk with them on chat, and talk about silly TV shows, even when really serious crap is happening. So thank you, and sorry, YouTube. And everybody, be nice to each other. Really. Okay? Bye-bye.